Hello students, today we'll do the second chapter of Footprints Without Feet, that is the thief's story. Before we commence with the chapter, let us read few lines about the author Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond was born on 19th May 1934. He is an Indian author with British descent. He lives with his adopted family in Lantur, Missouri, India. The Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award in 1992 for Earth Trees Still Grow in Dehra, his novel in English. He was awarded the Padma Shri in 1999 and the Padma Bhushan Award in 2014. Just have a look about the introduction to the lesson. Just a brief gist of what the chapter is all about. In the chapter, we'll see that there is a young boy who makes friends with Anil. Anil trusts him completely and employs him. Does the boy betray his trust? That we'll see in the lesson. The story is about a 15-year-old thief who changes his name every month to stay ahead of the police and old employers. This time he kept his name Hari Singh. The other person in the story is a 25-year-old writer named Anil. The thief meets Anil and asks him if he can work for him. The story unfolds on how the thief betrays Anil by committing a theft but retracts later on. Let us start with the explanation of the chapter. A young boy makes friends with Anil. Anil trusts him completely and employs him. Does the boy betray his trust? Read and find out. Who does I refer to in this story? What is he a fairly successful hand at? What does he get from Anil? In return for his work. Let us start with the chapter now. I was still a thief when I met Anil. And though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. That means he was pretty good at stealing. Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him. He was about 25, a tall, lean fellow, and he looked easygoing, kind, and simple enough for my purpose. I had not had much luck of late and thought I might be able to get into the young man's confidence. So here, students, we see the story starts from the point where the two main characters of the story meet, Anil and the thief. Who is I here? The thief, who is the narrator of the story. The thief says that according to him, he had a pretty good hand at stealing, and Anil was watching a wrestling match when the thief approached him. Then he gives the physical description of Anil, that Anil was a tall, lean, and an easygoing man of 25 years of age. And the thief had not committed any theft in the past few days, as he did not get a chance. He thought that Anil would be a good man to steal things from. So he starts his conversation with Anil and says, "You look a bit of wrestler yourself," I said. "A little flattery helps in making friends." Flattery means when you are praising someone in a very excessive manner. So just to start with the conversation, he asks him if that as if he looks like a wrestler himself. So do you, he replied, which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. Well, I said modestly, I do wrestle a bit. Then he asked, what's your name? The thief replied, Hari Singh, but he lied. Because he says, I took a new name every month that kept me ahead of the police and my formal employers. After this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestlers who were grunting, lifting, and throwing each other about. I did not have much to say. Anil walked away, and I followed casually. Hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. I want to work for you, I said. And he replied, but I can't pay you. So students, further he says that just to win his confidence, he started flattering him. To this Anil replied that even the thief looked like a wrestler, though it offended the thief. Why? Because he was very thin at that time. The thief replied that he did wrestle a bit sometimes. Then Anil asked his name, and the narrator gave his name wrong. He says, I am Hari Singh. Because the narrator says that he used to change his name every month to escape the police and his ex-employers. And then they started talking about the well-oiled wrestlers whom they were watching. The narrator did not have much to say, as he did not know much about wrestling. When Anil was about to leave, the narrator, who is the thief, again approached him and asked him that if he could work for him. The narrator approached him with the most appealing smile at that time that he could. Anil told him that he won't be able to pay him for his work. Now let us start with the next page. I thought that over for a minute. Perhaps I had misjudged my man, I asked. Can you feed me? Can you cook? He said, I can cook. Then again, the thief lied. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. He took me to his room over the Jamna sweet shop and told me I could sleep on the balcony. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible, because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. But I just hung around smiling in my most appealing way, and he could not help laughing. Later, he patted me on the head and said, never mind, he would teach me to cook. He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supplies, usually making a profit of about ₹1 a day. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. So students, Hari had not expected this reply and thought to himself that probably he had misjudged this man. Because Anil, as he had thought, must be A very rich man must be possessing a lot of money. The narrator then asked him if he could feed him, to which Anil said if Hari could cook, although Hari did not know how to cook. So Hari again lied and said yes. Anil replied that if Hari could cook, then he could feed him. And both of them went to Anil's room, which was above the Jamna sweet shop. Anil also told Hari that he could sleep in the balcony. The narrator said that the meal that he cooked must have been terrible, as Anil had to give it away to the stray dog. Then he told Hari that he could go to sleep, but Hari decided to stay for a while. Hari's smile was so appealing that Anil could not stop laughing looking at him. After some time, Anil patted on Hari's head and told him that now he would teach him how to cook, how to write his name, and also told him that he would soon teach him how to write the sentences and add numbers, for which Hari was very much thankful to Anil, because Anil had planned this way, as he knew that there would be no limits to his work once he knew how to write. Hari enjoyed working for Anil. He used to make tea for him in the morning, and then he would used to go out to buy the daily needs for Anil. He would also keep 1 rupee in his pocket every day from the money that Anil used to give him for the daily groceries. Anil knew that he took a rupee every day, but he did not mind. He was fine with it. Anil made money by fits and starts. Fits and start means not regularly. That means he does not have any regular income. He would borrow 1 week, lend the next. He kept worrying about his next check, but as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. It seems he wrote for magazines, a strange way to make a living. One evening, he came home with a small bundle of notes, saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. At night, I saw him tuck the money under the mattress. I had been working for Anil for almost a month, and apart from cheating on the shopping, had not done anything in my line of work. I had every opportunity for doing so. Anil had given me a key to the door, and I could come and go as I pleased. He was the most trusting person I had ever met, and that is why it was so difficult to rob him. It's easy to rob a greedy man because he can afford to be robbed, but it is difficult to rob a careless man. Sometimes he doesn't even notice he has been robbed, and that takes all the pleasure out of the work. Well, it's time. I did some real work, I told myself. I'm out of practice, and if I don't take the money, he will only waste it on his friends. After all, he does not even pay me. Now further, students, the narrator says that Anil did not have any regular income. It was the income, whatever he was earning, that was not on the regular basis, as he used to earn money by doing different activities. He did not have any fixed job. The narrator says that Anil used to be worried about his paychecks all the time, but as soon as he would receive a check, he would go out with friends and celebrate. Hari Singh thinks that he used to write, the narrator thinks that he used to write for magazines. He also thinks it to be a strange way to make money. Then suddenly one evening, Anil came home with some money and told Hari that he had just sold a book to a publisher. And then before going to bed, what Anil did was he put all the money under his mattress, and Hari saw that. Hari thought that he had been working for Anil for almost a month now, and he had not cheated him apart from the 1 rupee that he was saving every day. So now he thinks that he had every chance to steal, as Anil had given him the key to his room as well, and he could come and go wherever he wished to do so. And Hari had been trusted upon by Anil. So Hari had not been trusted upon by anyone else in his life. So this was the only thing that was stopping Hari from stealing, as Hari thought that it is a way easy to rob a greedy man because he has the capability or the money to get robbed, as he knows about what he has lost. But for a careless man like Anil, there was no use to steal, as they sometimes don't even come to know that they have been robbed. Also, Hari feels that when someone doesn't come to know that he has been robbed, then there is no fun left in robbing him. So dear students, here are a few questions. Read and find out. These 3 questions we'll be doing in our Microsoft Teams session. This is a part of discussion. So now I'm starting further. Anil was asleep. A beam of moonlight stepped over the balcony and fell on the bed. I sat up on the floor, considering the situation. If I looked the money, I could catch the 10:30 express to Lucknow. Slipping out of the blanket, I crept up to the bed. Anil was sleeping peacefully. His face was clear and unlined. Even I had more marks on my face, though mine were mostly scars. My hand slid under the mattress, searching for the notes. When I found them, I drew them out without a sound. Anil sighed in his deep and turned on his side towards me. I was startled and quickly crawled out of the room. When I was on the road, I began to run. I had the notes at my waist, held there by the string of my pajamas. I slowed down to a walk and counted the notes, 600 rupees in 50s. I could live like an oil-rich Arab for a week or 2. So students, now let us see what all the thief had planned. So when Anil was sleeping, Hari started his work. There was a little bit of light over Anil's bedroom because it was a moonlight that was coming from the window. Hari sat on the floor and planned that if he took the money, he could leave the city by the 10:30 p.m. Lucknow express train. Hari then crawled towards the bed and slipped his hand slowly inside the bed mattress. He looked at Anil, who was sleeping peacefully without a single line on his face, and Hari's face had so many scars on it. He realized that although he was much younger than Anil, he had such a bad appearance due to his wrong thinking. On the other hand, Anil was carefree and thought good for others, because of which he had such a nice face. Hari then took out the notes without making any sound, and Anil took a breath in his sleep and turned his side. He was directly facing Hari, which scared him a bit. But Hari quickly left the room. And as soon as he left the room, he was on the road and started running. He kept all the notes in his pajamas. He had tied it with a string of pajamas, and then after a while, Hari slowed down and counted the notes. He had 12 notes of 50 rupee each, which made it 600 rupees. Then Hari thought to himself that with this much money, he could live a luxurious life like an Arabian sheikh for at least 2 weeks. When I reached the station, I did not stop at the ticket office. I had never bought a ticket in my life, but dashed straight to the platform. The Lucknow Express was just moving out. The train had still to pick up speed, and I should have been able to jump into one of the carriages, but I hesitated for some reason I can't explain, and I lost the chance to get away. When the train had gone, I found myself standing alone on the deserted platform. I had no idea where to spend the night. I had no friends, believing that friends were more trouble than help. And I did not want to make anyone curious by staying at one of the small hotels near the station. The only person I knew really well was the man to whom I had robbed. Leaving the station, I walked slowly through the bazaar. In my short career as a thief, I had made a study of men's faces when they had lost their goods. The greedy man showed fear. The rich man showed anger. The poor man showed acceptance. But I knew that Anil's face, when he discovered the theft, would show only a touch of sadness. Not for the loss of money, but for the loss of trust. I found myself in the Maidan and sat down on a bench. The night was chilly. It was early November, and a light drizzle added to my discomfort. Soon it was raining quite heavily. My shirt and pajamas stuck to my skin, and a cold wind blew the rain across my face. So, dear students, when Hari reached the station, he straightaway went to the platform. He did not buy any ticket because till in his life he had never bought a ticket till now. Because till now he had always been traveling without a ticket. And when he reached the platform, the Lucknow Express in which he had to go, it was just leaving the platform. The train was still slow, so he could have easily jumped and got into one of the carriages. But he did not do so. There was a bit of hesitation, or I could say a bit of realization that came in him. He did not understand why he had the hesitation inside him, and because of that he could not board the train. After some time, when the train had left, Hari found himself all alone. He did not have any friends whom he could go. He did not even want to stay at any of the small hotels, as that would attract attention. In this whole city, there was only one person to whom he knows, and that was the person to whom he had robbed. As Hari Singh was walking through, he was thinking of his observation as a thief. In a short career span, he had realized that everybody, from rich to poor, everyone shows different reactions to losing their goods. But Anil is a different personality. He would only be a little sad. That too would not be because he lost his money, only because he has lost the trust that he had on the narrator. He would be sad that he trusted someone so much and that person had betrayed him. Harry was walking and he reached the park. He saw a bench and sat on it. Because it was the month of November, so the night was very chilly. Drizzling started and there was some discomfort which Harry felt. It started raining quite heavily then, and Harry's shirt, pajamas, everything that stuck to his body. Cold wind was blowing across Harry's face. I went back to the bazaar and sat down in the shelter of the clock tower. The clock showed midnight. I felt for the notes. They were damp from the rain. Anil's money. In the morning, he would probably have given me 2 or 3 rupees to go to the cinema, but now I had it all. I could not cook his meals, run to the bazaar, or learn to write whole sentences anymore. I had forgotten about them in the excitement of the theft. Whole sentences, I knew, could one day bring me more than 100 rupees. It was a simple matter to steal, and sometimes just as simple to be caught. But to be a really big man, a clever and respected man, was something else. I should go back to Anil, I told myself, if only to learn to read and write. I hurried back to the room feeling very nervous, for it is much easier to steal something than to return it undetected. I opened the door quietly, then stood in the doorway in clouded moonlight. Anil was still asleep. I crept to the head of the bed, and my hand came up with the notes. I felt his breath on my hand. I remained still for a minute. Then my hand found the edge of the mattress and slipped under it with the notes. I awoke late next morning to find that Anil had already made the tea. He stretched out his hand towards me. There was a 50-rupee note between his fingers. My heart sank. I thought I had been discovered. I made some money yesterday, he explained. Now you will be paid regularly. My spirits rose, but when I took the note, I saw it was still wet from the night's rain. Today, we'll start writing sentences, he said. He knew, but neither his lips nor his eyes showed anything. I smiled at Anil in my most appealing way, and the smile came by itself without any effort. So students, Hari went back and sat under the shelter of the clock tower just to escape from the rain. So at that time it was 12 o'clock. Hari checked the notes. Notes were also very wet. Then Hari started thinking that it was Anil's money, and if he had not stolen it, Anil would have surely given him 2-3 rupees to go for a movie. But now as he had stolen it, he had it all. Now he won't be able to make tea or do groceries for Anil anymore, nor would he be able to learn to write whole sentences ever. He had not realized that he would be losing all these in the excitement of stealing the money. He knew that if he could learn to read and write, he could earn much money than these few 100 rupees, and that too honestly. He knew that it was very easy to steal something from someone, but sometimes it was that easy to get caught as well. Hari told himself that he should go back if he wanted to learn to read and write, and also if he wanted to be a big man one day. So students, Hari went back to Anil's room and was very nervous because he knew that it would be very much difficult to return that stolen things without being caught than actually stealing it. That means keeping the money back was more difficult than stealing the money. So Hari went to the hallway and stood there as the moonlight was still falling over the bed. Anil was still sleeping at that time. As he was going near the mattress, his hand could feel Anil's breath on his hand. Hari became still for a moment, but still he was finally able to slip the notes under the mattress. The next morning, Hari woke up a little late and Anil had already made the tea by then. Then Anil gave 50 rupee note to Hari Singh, and Hari thought that probably he had been caught. Then suddenly Anil explained that he had made some money the day before, so he was giving him 50 rupees. He also said that he would be paying Hari now on the regular basis. Hari was really happy, but when he took the note in his hand, he saw that it was still wet. He also told Hari that day he would teach him how to write complete sentences, and Hari realized that Anil had come to know that he had stolen money and kept it back. But the great thing which happened was that he did not let it show on his face or on his words. Hari again smiled at Anil in his most appealing way, and Anil's smile also came to his face without any effort. So dear students, here your chapter ends. So the message or the moral that we have seen in the story is not to betray the trust reposed on you by any person. Students, always remember, once the trust of a person is lost, everything is lost. Kindness touches hearts and brings about a change, even in the worst person. This is seen in the fact that Hari Singh, the thief, despite stealing and running away from Anil, decides to come back because he cannot bear the thought that Anil will feel bad that he was cheated by a person in whom he had placed so much trust. So dear students, always remember that goodness and kindness has the power to radiate and change the world. So now whatever doubts and queries you will be having, that we'll be discussing in our session. Till then, goodbye. Have a good day, everyone.